Well, howdy folks. Welcome back to my kitchen. This is Texas Cooking Today. I'm Stuart, and today I wanted to talk to you about my pantry. You know, the thing behind me. Now, when I first moved into this house, and I'm not talking about just the pantry, but what is in it, but I want you to kind of know the history of this one. When I moved in here, the space behind me, which is here in my kitchen, was originally built into this house for the purpose of a washer and dryer, in other words, a laundry. And sometime back, the former owner took that out and put in a rack in here for the purpose of having a pantry and relocated the laundry out to the garage area, which works for me fine. And I thought, well, I think I can do better than just a roll-in rack and two regular doors opening up. They had doors that were very much like just the regular doors in the rest of the house. What I was needing was a little more of a complete pantry and a complete setup. I also wanted a place to relocate the refrigerator. So I had water moved over here so that, because it had been taken out. And that way we'd have filtered water for the refrigerator. We already had electricity in there, so that worked out. And then I went ahead and built in these cabinets to make a really nice double deep pantry. Now, not everybody has that much room, but I'm hoping that some of the ideas that I have, that I've built into my pantry, will be beneficial to other people. And I wanted to bring this up, well, because of recent events. Now, if you remember, we've just had COVID-19. That was an absolute nightmare. And it's still kind of going on, but it's nowhere near as bad as when it started. And everybody was scrambling for product. People wanted toilet paper and people needed food staples, and there was food insecurity. It's that food insecurity thing that really bothers me. And that's what I wanted to talk about preparing for. That's very much the majority of what this video is about, not all of it. I want to give you some really cool ideas for how to prepare for the possibility of food insecurity moments. Now, that personally frightens me, and I don't want to ever go through it. I haven't been there yet in a substantial way. I've had it when I was younger. It was a problem. There were some issues where I was, for a couple of years, had a hard time getting food, and that was because I wasn't earning enough. But that later changed in my life, and things got better. So that was economically based, and most of the time it is, but sometimes you just have a horrible thing happen. And that's what I wanted to talk to you today. Now, I'm not one of those that's a majorly prepper that's going to, go out and purchase, 500 gallons of water in bottles and store it somewhere. No, it's not me. What I do want, though, is to make sure if something else happened that was, that would tie up the nation's resources in a major way, that I would have some way of making sure there's food for me and for those around me. So that's what this is about in large part. Now, of course, when I did this, I wanted all of my food together in one area. And guess what? I don't have enough room. I have spices and flavorings in another cabinet. And yet in another cabinet behind that camera, I have things like flour and grains for brewing beer and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's right. I make my own alcohol. So everything is kind of done in-house here, and I'm also learned how to make alcohol for the same reason. It was that if things get really bad, I want some way to make sure I've got a way to make alcohol if there's no other way to get it. That's right. It never hurts to know such little tricks and techniques and tips. And I've got a few videos about to come out about that because I'm doing some brewing right now. Anyway, behind me in these cabinets, let's get on with this. I have designed my pantry so that it has bins in it, and these things run double deep, okay? Because this thing is a little over 3 feet deep, and it gives me a lot of storage space. But when I built it, I realized it was kind of hard to get in the back, and I needed a way to ease up on that. And that's what I did by doing this. Now, this one's heavy because it's all sugar of various types. And other similar items. Then I can reach in the back and just pull out whatever other bins I need for what I'm looking for at that moment. So I've got tall ones like I have here. I have these shorter ones, and it really depends on how much weight is in them. Sugar weighs a ton, and if you're going to buy sugar in bulk, then you need a smaller bin to accommodate that increased weight, or to divide it into two smaller bins. Smart way to do it. That right there is about, I'm guessing, around 30 pounds. Well, no, I would say closer to 20, 25 pounds, just on that one bin. So that's what I have going on there. And some of this isn't binned up. Some of this is this. And yes, you see my beautiful boxed wine. That's the way we roll around here, okay? Because when I'm not brewing my wine, I'm not going to go out and spend too much on it. And the wine I make is frankly better than what you get in the store. These things aren't terrible. They're okay table wine. I can deal with it, and I can cook with it, and I do. But my open cans and stuff like that, I need to rearrange this a little bit so I can get in there just a little easier. But for the most part, it's very accessible top and bottom. So the idea here, and what I'm getting at, down here in the bottom, in one bin, I have nothing but rice. In another bin, I have nothing but flour. And that's just what I keep in the kitchen. In addition to the flour that I store back in that other cabinet, which there's a 50-pound bag in there, and there are two 25-pound bags in there. Of course, some has been taken from a couple of those bags. It's not a big thing. There's just plenty. And the idea there is I save an absolute load of money. Let me explain. I'm going to be going through a lot of flour because I'm doing a lot of different recipes based with flour. A lot of baking, a lot of bread making. And I wanted to get some high gluten flour, and the place I bought from only had a 50-pound sack, so that's how I got that. Otherwise, I would have bought a 25-pound. The 25-pound sacks are very practical for home use. And here's why. You go out and purchase a bag of flour, all-purpose flour. On average, you're going to pay anywhere from $3.50 to $6 or more for that bag of all-purpose flour, depending on the brand and the type of flour it is. Okay, so that is that. Now, I can go out and get a 25-pound bag of flour for anywhere from $8 to $15. So why would I buy those 5-pound bags of flour and in the end pay a whole lot more money for the same poundage? All right. Now, if you use one bag of flour a year, or you don't even go through that much, it wouldn't be a good idea for you to do flour that way. But it's just a good idea in the sense of the ingredients that you use frequently. All right. So I'm using a lot of flour, so I want plenty on hand. All right. But other things that I want on hand that are staple items, that are life-saving items, the things that keep people alive. Rice, beans, those are your two tops right there. Rice keeps for a long time and cooks up and fills bellies quick, okay? And beans are the same way. They will fill bellies. They take up a small amount of space in storage. But dried beans produce a lot of food. You know, a pound of beans, that is enough food to feed a family of 6 or 7 people. And it's a big batch of beans, all right? 1 pound of beans is a fairly good sized pot of beans. So nice way to look at it. And it depends on what you like. If you prefer lentils, go with lentils. If you like black-eyed peas, hey, stock up on them. And I'll say this, if you have a home with a garden or yard, black-eyed peas can always be planted and they'll grow almost anywhere. They are abundant. In the way they grow, they produce a lot more black-eyed peas than you would expect, and they do it in a very short period of time. So they're a life-saving crop. These black-eyed peas, which are also called cowpeas, they were sent to Africa to help end starvation in certain areas, and they've been very beneficial. So it's not so much you need to stock up on flour or sugar or whatever. It's you need to keep a good stock of those foods that can keep you alive and well in times if they get really bad. Okay, now recently we had a lot of people that had, like I said, food insecurity. That shouldn't have been going on, but it was. Unfortunately, in the United States, we're a wealthy nation, but there are people that go to bed hungry, which says a whole lot about a portion of our nation, about their willingness to help give somebody just a plate of food. I mean, that's pretty sick if someone starves in your midst and you know about it and you haven't done anything. It speaks to character, okay? I won't go into that. Anyway, things that you want to save. Now, you don't want to have a huge stock of butter unless you've got a deep freeze to stick it in. I do. But I don't normally keep that much around. If something bad happened, I would probably want to stock up, but I don't normally keep a whole lot on hand. Some things won't keep: eggs, milk, cream, that kind of stuff. Those things that spoil quickly that we frequently have in here. But look at it this way. If you had dehydrated milk, powdered milk, that stuff keeps a long time. It doesn't take up much space, all right? And it can be used not only in baking, but in just regular use for milk, all right? It's not the best thing in the world, but I'll say this: it beats not having anything, okay? So it's about stocking the things that you need. When you start buying in bulk, you're going to realize how much money you save anyway. And having an area, or areas, plural, where you keep good stocks of food is always smart. When COVID-19 hit and everybody was scrambling for toilet paper, I wasn't, because before that ever happened, all of my life I've been this way. I have a good stock of toilet paper. I keep it that way at all times. When it starts getting to a certain point, I go out and purchase more and stock it all back up again. When COVID-19 hit, I was about, maybe a quarter or a third of the way through my stock of toilet paper, and I still had about a month and a half, maybe 2 months worth of toilet paper left. So where everybody else was scrambling, I was like, well, that's a good thing that I live my life the way I do, keeping enough of certain items so that when times are uncomfortable, you'll have what you want or need. Okay? So remember, money saved. When you get opportunities to get low-cost items in bulk, do that. If you have the space to have a freezer allows you to do a lot of deep storage with like big cuts of meat and other items that you might want to keep in bulk. Like I said, you can freeze butter. Doesn't hurt it at all. You can freeze a lot of other things. So consider that. Thank you very much for watching this. If you would, please take a look in my description box. You're going to see 2 links there. One is to Wildgrain, which is a subscription service for sourdough bread and pasta and pastries. It comes as frequently as you want it to come. So you set it up for however often you want, and then you get to choose from all of the different goodies that go in the box. Okay, you can choose which bread you want in there and which pastries you want in there, and it is fantastic. Go ahead and just take it the way it comes the first time, and then after that you'll find out you've got lots of options. The other thing that I have is down in there you're going to see Chef's Temp, and that's a chef's thermometer. Everybody needs a good chef's thermometer. It keeps our food safe and it helps us to cook better. Okay, if you don't have one, look at that. That's a good price right now. They have it on sale. So click that link. And when I say right now, I'm talking about here in the fall. They have a fall sale here in 2022. So if this is viewed years later, then understand that may have changed. Okay, so anyway, Chef's Temp, great chef's thermometer with a lot of really good qualities. Take a look at that. Please subscribe. Click the like button, drop a comment down below, and folks, please stock up and have what you need for the worst of times.